Good evening. I want to welcome all those joining us as returning chairs and key communicators, and those joining us for the first time tonight. As school councils, you serve an important and meaningful purpose within your own schools and communities. Together, we all make a difference for students in public education. Thank you for your time and commitment and your drive to work together. The board would like you to know that you are valued and appreciated. At these meetings, we share key information and updates that are important to you, your school community, and public education as a whole. Just before we get started, a few housekeeping notes to make this easier for everyone. I'm going to ask that everyone keeps their mics and videos off for the presentation portion of the meeting, and we will call on you to speak once we get to the question and answer portion tonight. The presentation portion of tonight's COSC meeting is being recorded for the purpose of making the recording available to all school councils on the CBE website. Elders have taught us it's important to acknowledge the land where we gather and the first people who traditionally lived here. It shows respect for people, their contributions, and their way of being, belonging, doing, and knowing, which are reflected through the stories and songs that have lived on this land for thousands of years. We are making this acknowledgement to demonstrate our commitment to work together as a community in laying the foundation for reconciliation through education. We'd like to acknowledge the traditional territories and oral practices of the Blackfoot Nations, which include the Siksika, the Piikani, and the Kainai. We also acknowledge the Tsuut'ina and Stoney Nakoda First Nations, the Métis Nation, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta. I'd like to take a moment and welcome all my fellow trustees joining this evening. When your slide turns up, can you turn on your camera and introduce yourself? We'll start with Trustee Dana Downey.
Hi, I'm Dana Downey, elected trustee in wards 1 and 2.
And thank you. I'm here, Trustee Hack. I'm elected in wards 3 and 4. I've been serving as your board chair since October 2021. I'm a mom, a past teacher, and public education advocate. Look forward to connecting with all of you over the next while. Please don't hesitate to reach out by email if you have any meeting dates in mind or topics of interest and you would like me to come chat. Look forward to working with you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marilyn Dennis. I have the distinct pleasure of being elected in wards 5 and 10, and I am serving you and our community as a second-term trustee. Really pleased to see so many of you here tonight. I hope that you're all looking forward to the presentation this evening, and I know I'm looking forward to our breakout sessions later where we can have some great conversation. But thank you so much for setting aside some time tonight to be with us here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Patricia Bolger in wards 6 and 7. I'm a mom to 3, 2 who are out of the nest, and 1 finishing up grade 12 at Central Memorial High School with the CBE. I'm also a mother to 2 cats who are helping me this evening, so excuse me if I keep glancing away at them. Thanks.
And my name is Susan Vukadinovich. I am also a mom of 3 kids. I've got a child in a CBE elementary school, 1 in a CBE middle school, and 1 in a CBE high school. And I'm so glad that you've taken time out of your evening to be here today. I used to be a school council chair, so I'm always aware that people in the room are potential future trustees. So thank you for coming out tonight.
Good evening. I'm Nancy Close. I'm honored to represent wards 11 and 13 in the Southwest and really looking forward to working together.
Hi there. My name's Charlene May. I'm ward trustees for 12 and 14 in the South, as well as vice chair of the Board of Trustees. I'm a volunteer, proud mom of 2 children in elementary school with a CBE, and just love all things community.
I'd like to take a moment to welcome all the members of the superintendent's team who are attending tonight. I'll ask each of them to turn on their cameras and do a quick wave as I introduce you. We've got Gary Struther, who will be new to many of you. He's our acting chief superintendent of schools. We're currently conducting a search for a permanent chief superintendent and are hoping to finalize that search in early 2024. Welcome. Next up, I've Joanne Pittman, superintendent of school improvement, and also responsible for areas 5, 6, and 7, as well as research and strategy, inclusive education, and Indigenous education. Welcome. Next, Mike Nelson, acting superintendent of school improvement for areas 1, 2, 3, and 4. Thank you. I've got Brad Grundy, superintendent of finance and technology services, as well as the chief financial officer. We have Danny Breton, superintendent of facilities and environmental services. Rob Armstrong, superintendent of human resources. We have Kelly Ann Fenney, general counsel. And Marla Martin Esposito, chief communications officer. Wonderful. Here's a quick look at our agenda for this evening. We have already covered the welcome and introductions. Since this is our first meeting of the year, we'll briefly cover the role of trustees, CBE administration, and your role as school council. For some of you, this will be new information. For others, a nice refresher. We'll provide you with some system updates, particularly enrollment growth, engagement currently underway for the K-6 social studies curriculum, and a few other updates. We'll then spend some time talking about the capital planning for new schools, modernization projects, and the efforts we are making to ensure our voices are heard at the provincial government level. There will be time for you to ask some questions, and we'll provide information about how to do that when we get to that part of the meeting. Finally, there is time to connect in breakout rooms. Today, we're going to try something a little bit different. Rather than by ward, we will be creating breakout sessions by division, so elementary, middle school, and high school. And now I'm going to pass it over to Trustee Bolger.
All right. So trustees serve as a board rather than as individual authorities. Functioning as a board means that we make formal decisions by majority vote and in accordance with legislation and in the best interests of the CBE as a whole. So as trustees, we take an oath of office that declares that we owe a fiduciary duty to the CBE, not to the people who elected us or any group or individual representing a special interest. Yet by acting in the best interests of the CBE, the board does serve the owners, who are the citizens of Calgary, including all of you. The board does not get involved in the day-to-day operations of the CBE. This includes all operational decisions such as staffing, the selection of learning resources, bus routes, and more. By virtue of the Education Act, these decisions are delegated to the chief superintendent. The board does provide oversight. Oversight does not mean delving into the minutiae of operational detail, but it does mean that as governors of the system, we work to ensure that our policy expectations are being met. All right, and on to governance. So the Board of Trustees governs the CBE by establishing expectations for student results and operational expectations through policy. All of our results policies and operational expectations can be found on the CBE website, as can everything else I usually say under About Us, Policies and Regulations. So the board holds the chief superintendent accountable for meeting operational expectations and achieving results through the monitoring of reports. Trustees read and analyze these sometimes very large reports and ask questions of administration in public board meetings. Motions are then made to approve compliance, commend the chief superintendent on exceptional performance, or identify areas of exception. Thank you very much.
So our school board advocates for both the importance of public education and for CBE. And we connect with our constituents and share information with MLAs, with city councillors, and as an individual board. And collectively, Because of our membership through the Alberta School Boards Association, we advocate through that organization as well. So continued relationships with our key stakeholders and elected officials help ensure that local decision-making and local issues and needs of our students and families are identified and top of mind. So advocacy, like relationships, is an ongoing process, and you can visit our website, and by attending COSC, you're also going to hear up-to-date information around important issues that we're talking about. And later in this presentation, trustees will provide information on our current advocacy priorities. So over to our acting Chief Superintendent, Gary Struther.
I would just, I've been working with Acting Chief Superintendent Gary Struther, who is currently unable to hear anything. And so he is a little bit challenged in that respect. So I'm going to provide his update on his behalf. So here are Gary's words for everyone. My apologies. Gary Struther is the Acting Chief Superintendent for the CBE while the board actively recruits for the permanent Chief Superintendent role. Thank you on his behalf for joining us today. And he echoes what Chair Hack said about the important role that you play in your schools. And certainly we could not do it without you. And a special welcome to each of you who may be new to the CBE. As the Acting Chief Superintendent, Gary is responsible for the overall operations of the CBE, as well as fulfilling all the board's policies. Of course, he does not do this work alone, and as evidenced today, we step in when there are technical difficulties. There are 6 service units listed on the slide. Each one is headed up by a superintendent who reports directly to the chief superintendent. School improvement has 2 superintendents given the size and scope of the portfolio, and our service units exist to support our schools and the system as a whole. Service units are responsible for many things, including the day-to-day learning and operations in each school and supporting improvement of student achievement, equity, and well-being. Service units manage our overall budget. We hire teachers and support staff. We ensure buildings are clean and safe, and we work with our partners to manage transportation, including Yellow Bus Transportation, Calgary Transit, and all of our special needs transportation and more. Additionally, we manage legal issues and ensure families and staff have the information they need when they need it. Thank you again for the work that you do to support your school community. And on behalf of Acting Chief Gary Struther, I wish you and your family a successful school year.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Pittman. So Trustee Vukadinovich back here. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about school council. So whether you're new to school council or have served for years, we just wanted to provide you a quick reminder of the role of school councils and how they fit in with those other 2 pieces you just heard about. So your role is advisory, to advise the principal and trustees on matters related to the school and to ensure parent voice is represented in school decision-making. Your principal will bring forward topics to school councils throughout the year, such as the school budget and school development plans, among many other topics. School councils is just one more way that parents can have their voices heard at their schools. And another important role of a school council is to support and enhance student learning by organizing volunteer-run activities and events that support the school program. Whether it's an after-school family picnic or a special lunch, the activities and events organized by school councils help to bring together families, and they create excitement among our students. And when we talk about the role of school councils, it's important to also clarify what isn't included in the roles. So it's not the primary role of school councils to fundraise, lobby, or engage in school management. Speaking of the fundraising piece specifically, while school councils can fundraise, it's not the primary function of school councils to do so. That role is generally reserved for your parent fundraising society, which is a separate and distinct entity from the school council. And school councils don't participate in employment issues such as hiring or school governance or management issues. And I believe that we'll hopefully have somebody posting some links to resources that school councils can use, such as the school council handbook. And regarding the handbook, some updates have been made this year, particularly the section about communicating with your school community. got lots of great information. If you ever have questions, you can send them to school councils with an S at the end at cbe.ab.ca. And now I'm going to pass it on to Trustee Downey, please.
Thank you, Trustee Vukadinovich. We'd now like to share some updates on enrollment, which I'm sure many of you have been hearing about, and perhaps you are experiencing an enrollment surge in your own school. The CBE provides its enrollment numbers to Alberta Education based on its September 29th enrollment. Our projection remains at over 138,000 students this year. We expect to exceed this number during this school year as we are registering new students daily. This means a year-over-year increase of 7,000 students. And just to put that into perspective, 7,000 students would fill about 15 new elementary schools at 600 students per school. The majority of new registrants are Canadians, new to Canada, and about 40,000 students, or 29% of our student population, are EAL, or English as an Additional Language. We expect this number to continue to rise, and our Welcome Center, which is located in our Education Center, supports newcomers with the registration process. They do language assessments, and they connect families with other community supports. Stats Canada released a report on September 27th, indicating that Canada grew by 3.3% from July 2022 to July 2024. And Alberta experienced the fastest growth of all provinces and territories at 4%. The CBE's funded enrollment has grown by 5.57% as of September 25th. So what does this mean? We'll have a look on the next slide, please. The Board of Trustees has been highlighting its advocacy and how increased enrollment is impacting our system. So what exactly does this mean? The pace of enrollment growth is more than double an average school year. There is no indication that enrollment growth is slowing down. We are closely monitoring school by school enrollment and supporting our principals and school communities in adjusting to any changes. Principals are in the best position to make decisions about their schools, teachers, and support staff to support our students. Multiple factors are considered when determining class configurations. Our biggest enrollment pressures are in areas of the city with already full schools, and we're seeing this primarily in the Northeast and the Southeast. And limited spaces are available in neighboring communities, but all areas of the city are experiencing increased enrollment. You may have heard about schools that are full or are being overflowed, and about 1 in 10 CBE schools is being overflowed. However, the vast majority of students attend their designated school. About 2% of students, and mostly new registrants, are overflowed. Trustee Dennis will now talk about the next slide and our need for schools and modernizations.
Thank you so much, Trustee Downey. And again, so glad to be with you all here tonight and happy to talk about our need for new learning spaces. So as many of you are likely aware, the Caliber Board of Education, along with school divisions from across the province, submits a 3-year school capital plan to Alberta Education annually. The 2024-2027 capital plan that we submitted last spring included 16 projects, and those were 7 new school requests and 9 requests for major modernizations. Significant and ongoing increases in student enrollment continues to create a need for more schools, and in particular in our newer and growing communities. So you can expect to see even more new school requests in our capital plans moving forward. School major modernization projects involve the renovation of either whole or parts of a school building, and these can include upgrades to our career and technology spaces, also enhancements to learning commons, and just an overall improvement to the school building. Modernizing schools is fiscally responsible because it helps us to avoid an ever-increasing backlog of work to be done on our aging infrastructure. It also supports our value of being good stewards of the infrastructure resources that we have. And of course, it breathes new life into schools that will serve thousands of students for years to come. New schools can take 3 to 4 years to build, and so modular classrooms, or what some of you might know as portables, can provide more immediate relief where we do need additional learning spaces. At our public board meeting earlier this week, the Board of Trustees approved administration's modular classroom recommendations to be submitted to government. And our modular program submissions for this year is requesting 80 classrooms in order to support growth. 12 of those are relocations of existing modulars, and there are 68 requests for new modulars. Trustees have been actively advocating with our local MLAs, asking to see all of our new school and modernization requests granted from our capital plan. The next slide here shows you where we have asked for new schools in the city in our current capital plan. So here you can see there's a concentration in the north and in particular in the northeast. The orange dots here on this map represent our year 1 priorities. But here you will see Evanston Elementary, Cornerstone High School, Redstone Elementary, Saddle Ridge Middle School, Sage Hill Kincora Middle School, and Mahogany Middle School. What's not indicated on this map is Evanston Middle School, which we received approved funding for construction last March in the province's capital announcement. So we are hoping to start that project very soon. And just for your information, Evanston is located in the far northwest of the city. The next slide here shows our requests for major modernizations, and these are the modernizations that we've requested in the 2024 to 2027 3-year school capital plan. So here you can see the distribution is quite different than what you saw on the new schools map. So the schools identified for major modernizations are of course older and in need of major upgrades. So the orange dots here indicate, of course, our year 1 priorities, and that includes Sir John A. Macdonald, Annie Gale, Crescent Heights High School, and A.E. Cross. And then year 2 and 3 priorities include Annie Foot, Altador, Cedar Brae, Janet Johnstone, and Ranchlands. And if you have any, if you just would like more information and more details on each of these requests, you can refer to our 3-year school capital plan, which is available on our website. Thanks. Over to Trustee Bolger.
Thank you, Trustee Dennis. So we appreciate the engagement and the responsiveness of Alberta Education for the design of the new social studies curriculum. The curriculum has been updated to reflect feedback received, including the first round of public engagement, which concluded just on October 16th. And the government does continue to engage on the curriculum, and the slide highlights upcoming opportunities. And as noted, in the 2024-25 school year, teachers will have the opportunity to pilot the refined curriculum and provide feedback back to government. Thank you. And
oh, sorry. Are we?
Am I talking still
No,
about?
it's you. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay, Trustee Close. All right. It is a bit of a recap on curriculum. Here's a summary of the mandatory implementation timelines for the K-6 curriculum. Teachers continue to be supported with resources and professional development, and feedback has been positive thus far. Parent resources have also been updated, and links are provided on the slide, and we will include them in the chat. Now, Trustee Close, over to you.
Thank you, Trustee Bolger. I was anxious because I have a golden retriever that's been barking in the background, and they were silent, and I thought, oh, now's my opportunity. So over to active and safe routes to school. So student safety and well-being is a shared responsibility between CBE and CBE families, and it's one that we all take seriously. It is a parent's responsibility to get their student to and from school, or to the transportation to take them to school. And when we think of health and wellness, we do encourage active modes of transportation. because research does show that children that walk or ride or roll to school are in a better place to be ready to learn. So the more we can encourage active and safe routes to school for those who can, the better off all of us are. So principals and parents have access to an advisory group that is called the Safe Student Travel Advisory Group, or we refer to it as STAG, that supports student transportation across the city. And this group actually includes wide representation. So think school boards, CBE, Calgary Catholic, Franco Sud, also Calgary Police Service, the City of Calgary's Traffic Department, and transportation service providers, and AMA, School Safety Patrol, and other programs and community organizations. So if you have suggestions or concerns, please email transportation and they can be reviewed by that advisory group. I also want to highlight that, you know, we do work with partners. 2 examples are Everactive and Youth en Route. And we know that schools, neighborhood schools especially, have been successfully working with either or both of these organizations, where they can actually look at the traffic plan or traffic issues, or how or what the city of Calgary could do to improve those. And so you can learn more about that work that specific schools have been doing by visiting the websites of Everactive and Youth en Route. And then I think we're moving on to sharing information with schools, the school community, if I'm correct. And I am. Amazing. Trustee Vukadinovic mentioned the school council handbook, and it is a great resource on a variety of topics. And one of the questions trustees receive most often is how best to communicate with your school community, especially given anti-spam rules. So we've added more detail in the handbook. Some highlights included on this slide are that CBE email accounts are not provided to school council members, but school councils can use CBE channels for communication as long as you get approval from your principal. You can create your own distribution list, and don't forget to update your school council and parent society web pages with key information. Previously, we had, in fact, it was last October at our cost meeting, School Council Chair Jane Benham shared tremendous tips and techniques related to effective practices for school councils. And so if you want to check out that content, you can actually watch the video from the October 20th meeting from last year. And I think I'm over to Trustee Vukadinovic again.
Thank you very much, Trustee Close, and thank you very much to your golden retriever for being a very good boy during your part. So I wanted to talk to you about inviting your school trustee to a school council meeting sometime this year. You are very welcome to do so if you haven't done so already. It's an invaluable way for us to get to know more about you and what's happening in your school, and we can also answer questions you might have about the CBE as a whole. And if you're not sure who your trustee is, the easiest way is to go to your website, so the school website for your school, and scroll down to the bottom of the page, and our names are right there. And we look forward to seeing you. And I believe Charlene will put in the poll question right now, and then, sorry, Trustee May will put in the poll question, and then Trustee May will be the next one up. Thank you.
Wonderful. So hopefully the poll question has come up for everyone if you can take time to answer. The question is, when have you invited your school trustee to your school? So whether it be school council, school event, or have not invited. So while we'll let those go in, I'll just share a little bit about the Alberta School Boards Association, or sorry, Alberta School Council Association. So this organization exists to support school councils across the province. And so the Board of Trustees is happy to pay for an ASCA membership of interested school councils, and you can just register on the ASCA website directly. As well, to access the $500 grant this year, Alberta Education is asking for school council chair names and email addresses to be submitted to them. So if you'd like to, please contact the Board of Trustees office by email, which is boardoftrustees@cbe.ab.ca. And please do so ASAP with that information so that we can submit it to the government. And more information will be shared with you in the coming weeks about that process. And so now we're going to head over to Trustee Hack with Q&A.
Just a quick thing before we touch on the Q&A. We've already got some technical wrinkles. I'd like to take a moment to reintroduce our acting chief superintendent, Gary Strother. If you'd like to come on and say a few words, say hi to everybody.
Thank you very much. Now is my speaker working at least? Are you getting sound?
It is. Perfect. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'd just like to say thank you very much. I've had a very exciting start to my first cost, and it's been an interesting evening trying to get everything up and working here, so my apologies. But I just wanted to say welcome and thank you very much for taking on the responsibility of working with the school council. It's a great opportunity for you to be really involved within your school, and I know some of you have been doing it in the past, and some of you are brand new doing this, but it really is a special time for you to be able to work with your child's school in a very different way. And I thank you for taking that on. I've only been with the CBE for a few months, but my time here has been it's been fabulous. I've really enjoyed it so far and continue to enjoy it. And I've been very impressed with the organization itself and the work that it does. This is a place that does put students first, and is always thinking about its stakeholders and the people that come to the schools of CBE. Public education is an incredible opportunity for everyone, and the CBE does it very, very well. So once again, thank you very much. My apologies for skipping out early, but I've been around the whole time, just been very quiet.
Thank you so much. All right, at this time, we're going to take